This interview is for information only and should not be considered as investment advice or a recommendation to buy shares in the company featured. Welcome to this Stockbox interview. Joining us today is Paul Johnson, the CEO of Power Metal Resources. Paul, thank you for your time today. How are you doing?
I'm very well, thank you, Mark. How are you?
Yes, I'm very good. Thank you, Paul. We just wanted to have a bit of a quick catch-up, didn't we, on what's going on in the markets at the moment. A lot of stocks are pretty unloved. I was doing a podcast with a resource and commodities investor only that went out on Monday, and I think the future can be extremely bright for junior resource, the whole sector really in the future with what's to come with the green energy shift. But at the moment, it's pretty tough. So, I mean, how are you feeling? You're a CEO of a company that's got multiple projects across the world. To see the share price, touching on just about 1 pence at the moment.
Yeah, well, I'm a contrarian, Mark. I've been involved with investing in the space for 15 years, and over that time, I've seen some pretty horrendous dips in the market and in confidence in general in the junior resource space. I've seen some phenomenal highs as well. And what is it the investor said to me a while back? The stock market is the only place where people buy less in a sale. And there's a number of reasons for that, availability of capital, protection of their existing investments and wanting them to do better before they move around. And so I am used to it. Undaunted is I think the word we settled on in the office in terms of, the approach. Once you've had a few years experience in this game, it's a patience game to find the bigger returns. From a CEO's perspective, obviously I'm, more focused because the team in the business, our shareholders out there, and potential investors do look, understandably, at share price performance as a major metric in terms of how well the company is doing. And we've got a situation where over the last year we've moved the business forward, literally, by huge margins across so many areas of our company, and yet our share price has fallen by significant amounts. So the main metric by which people measure whether we are a success or will be a success in the future is something that's been under pressure, much of which is not really through what we've done as a business. It's just general market conditions.
Mm-hmm. So when the sector turns then, Paul, which inevitably it will with the green shift that's coming, one of the points I picked up from this podcast I did was the guy reckons we need to create the investment of 6 United States by 2030. That's significant if we're going to be actually doing this. I mean, how does a company in this space really position itself? I know you were talking earlier about almost being a land management type company, securing the best land at the right time, the right prices, and then, either moving them on or proving them up, and as the value increases. So what's your plan?
Well, if it is quite difficult, if you look at the junior resource space, essentially we are real estate managers or land managers, because we secure pieces of ground. We might not own the ground, but own the rights to explore and potentially develop the ground. You hope that the ground that you buy is affordable to the business, reasonable price. And we've spent 3 years now building our business since February 19 with new ground acquisitions, as it were. In our case, we've done work on that ground. Most of our properties have seen some quite significant exploration to find interesting results that increase the inherent value of each project. And then, as with all companies, we hope that we will find major discoveries on each individual project that will attract the interest of major partners, joint venture with a large company, for example, or we may be able to dispose of that project for a vast amount of money because we found, something pretty substantial. So essentially, we've been aggregating our ground position across the world, 3 continents, and operating over 14, 15 projects. And that really ran until the end of December 21, Mark. I guess if you want to put a date in it. So we had the 19, 20, 21 at that. Since about September 21, we started the process of value crystallization, which is where we do corporate transactions around our very large portfolio to put ourselves into a position to really expose our shareholders to value upside. And our principle with the likes of the First Class Metals transaction back in September last year was to swap a project interest in the Hemlo Schreiber in for a shareholding, and we have circa 36% of First Class, so that when that vehicle First Class lists, then our shareholders are exposed to a vast amount of share capital. If they do well, which I believe they will do astonishingly well, and drive their share price up considerably on the market, then the value of our investment goes up dramatically with it. Now, do that once, it's fantastic for a business. Do that twice, it's astonishing. And do that 3 or 4 or 5, 6 times, which is our intention, the balance sheet of the business swells dramatically. There's more chance of a discovery in any individual project in our portfolio if it has its own management team, strategy, operational drive, and financing. So we're optimizing our chance of discoveries across our portfolio by undertaking some of these disposals, reducing our day-to-day cost of management because we're not paying for them anymore, and we're exposing the shareholder base to the dramatic upside of success in any one of those project packages. So yeah, we are a land business really, and maybe it would bore people to death if we came out with that, as a title for our operational activities, but in essence that's what it is.
Okay, so with First Class, perhaps the first one to crystallize, then investors can hopefully start to see that model come to fruition and the kind of value return for Power Metal Resources. What other projects or branches are there in Power Metals business that you can attribute real value to today?
Oh, well, we've got First Class is obviously, in the IPO listing process. We've got Golden Metal Resources in the process, obviously quite advanced. And we've just done a pre-IPO raise for First Development Resources in packaging the Paterson region and also Northern Territory in Australia. New Ballarat Gold, Victoria. We've been talking about that for some time, and obviously looking to accelerate the corporate activity there. Alongside that, there's various other parts of our business that we're very actively working on in the background. So often with these things, you don't want them to come like buses, 3 or 4 at a time, but it does appear to be working that way. And there's a lot of work going on in them at the moment, which is why I talk about, immense levels of business activity in the company.
Okay, but can you actually attribute any value to any of them at this stage? The market doesn't seem to be at the moment, and as the saying goes, the market is never wrong.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. It's like my 7-year-old son. The market, of course, is a valuation at a point in time. It is disconnected from the company, as we've seen across many sectors over the years. Thank the Lord, it is disconnected as well, because if everything was immediately fully valued, you would almost never have a chance of making serious money. Where, shareholders who buy undervalued companies make the biggest returns. Investors who sit there waiting for a stock to go up 400% before they enter do not make the biggest returns. Simple fact of life. People who stay calm when sectors are under pressure, just because it's a cyclical business, and for whatever reason, a particular group of stocks, in our case Junior Resources, have fallen. The good stocks get crushed with the bad stocks. People who worry about that, who panic about that, who search for the reasons why they shouldn't hold those stocks anymore, are going to lose money. People who sit there thinking, either 1, I'll buy those stocks at the lows, or 2, I'll just wait for the stock to kick a little bit more confidence, and then I'll get in early. Those people make vast amounts of money. And it is possible to make vast amounts of money in our market, but you've got to have a degree of control over your emotions and your trading behavior. And, I've seen this now for 15 years. I've had plenty of experience of worrying and panicking at lows. I've had plenty of experience of getting overexcited at highs. And we are definitely a sector where a contrarian viewpoint really, really works. Now, in terms of valuations of our interests, well, in much of our business, it's difficult to ascribe a value to, because we're working on exploration. It's difficult for people to value it. Internally, we might feel that a piece of news has, an amazing impact on the business. So when we released the Tata results, in one of the lower intensity anomaly areas, we managed to pick up near surface gold. I think it was 3 meters, 5 grams a ton, and we were delighted that we'd been able to get that level of gold so quickly, and we knew exactly where to focus. So we thought it was a great announcement that added dramatic value to the project. The market didn't like it. But then maybe when we move to the next area and drill in the more intense gold anomaly areas, and one would hope we get, bigger results, as it were, then the market will turn on to the project. But where we have got some clear definition of value is on the pre-IPOs. So if you take First Class Metals, the value of Power Metals interest there, add it to Golden Metal Resources at pre-IPO valuations. So this is quite early stage and quite low valuations. And then you take the First Development Resources at pre-IPO valuation. We have a combined value of circa £7 million in those three vehicles at the pre-IPO stage. Of course, for that was some time ago for First Class, some time ago for Golden Metal, and has been recently determined for First Development. So one would hope that £7 million will go considerably as they move into IPO, and then as they move with releasing news to market and trading on the market. But that 7 million value comes from 3 project packages, effectively circa 20% of our business, and it's early stage value. So you can see, it doesn't take a lot of success for that valuation to drive up. But we don't want to be just a net asset value business where people say, they have 50 million of net assets, so we'll give them a value of that figure. We want to get on with exploration in our business as well.
Okay. Well, Paul Johnson, the CEO of Power Metal Resources, thank you very much for joining us today.
Thank you very much, Mark.
If you enjoyed this interview, then give us a thumbs up, a like or a retweet. Subscribe to us on YouTube or follow us on Twitter and hit that notification bell to be the first to know when we release new content. There's loads of great content on our website too, across all our programs at stockboxmedia.com. Thank you for watching.